Hi, and welcome back to my channel, where today we're going to be talking about why histrionics, why we're shit at relationships. We can keep this nice and light-hearted. Uh, let's start with the basics. We have really intense emotions. We're very charismatic, very overpowering, very dominant by nature. It's going to create a lot of conflict. Unlike your kind of classical vulnerable narcissist, we don't have a love bombing stage. That just doesn't end for us, and because we're always really high energy. So a few months into the relationship, generally our partners become aware, this isn't just a reaction to them, the way their feelings for you have been, and their feelings start to dull and diminish a bit as in normal human relationships. Ours don't. Ours stay as intense, and then we feel rejected, and that ends up creating a lot of problems. Men that we're with tend to start feeling emasculated because our sex drive's not diminished. We're making them feel bad. We're still flirting with other people because we flirt naturally. It's quite innocent to us, but it's causing insecurities in them. You're basically, you're both, out sailing, right? But you're in calm Scottish waters. She's away in Neverland. Like, oh, they're still in Charybdis. So suddenly she's thirsty. Oh, that's the Odyssey. But, it applies. Our feelings are a lot grander. Our energy's a lot higher. And we can't deal with plateaus. We can't deal with withdrawal, emotional withdrawal. It's one of the reasons we quite often tend to end up in physically abusive relationships, because we're far more likely to put up with physical abuse because we can understand anger and aggression better than we can understand emotional withdrawal. So, if we end up in emotionally abusive relationships, they really destroy us, it gives us big narcissistic wounds, which is kind of what we have in place of depression or mental breakdown. Because when you start from crazy, apparently, your next step is actually being diagnosed crazy. So yes, the intensity, the insecurities building, it's not being able to deal with withdrawal. It's, you like the personality to begin with, but then you don't, because it's unmaintainable for most people. And then she's going to feel unloved and rejected. You're going to feel like you're not enough for her. That's going to lead to tension. And, also, pathologically, you're very, very different people. So you're not going to understand each other's motivations as well. So, he might be withdrawing because he's feeling insecure. If you've got HPD, you don't have that preset insecurity. You don't have that kind of self-pity. You don't have that guilt, remorse, shame. You can't understand it, and your automatic reaction is, oh, well, I'll try and build them up. Oh, you want to rant about your boss? Let's do that. Let's distract ourselves. Let's get funner. And you go, no, you can't do that. And then, our personalities, which originally brought their confidence up and made them feel on top of the world, start to bring them down. And then because we realise it's like our personalities causing problems, that then brings us down, and that can go two ways. That can go very self-destructive or very outwardly destructive, and that's where we end up with trauma bondage relationships. We're constantly chasing the good times, so is our partner, and we don't mix very well. For example, with our kind of morality, like, we don't punish ourselves. We don't feel guilt, remorse, shame. So when you're angry at us, we might go, yeah, we were a bitch. We might go, okay, well, I've got to do something to make up for that. I'll try to stop doing that. But we're not going to be saying, oh, I'm sorry, and beating ourselves up about it, whereas you're going to be beating yourself up about it. We're going to be losing respect for you for doing that, because where you see us as uncompassionate, we're like, well, even when we're telling you you're an arsehole, we want you to take responsibility for being an arsehole, and we want you to stop being an arsehole. We don't want you to feel horrible and like an arsehole, because we care about you. So we expect the same in return, but that's just not how normal people work and how crazy people adapt. And yes, so that's fun, the intense emotions. And the lack of understanding. And I would say, as disclosure, when it comes to a trauma bonded relationship, a toxic relationship, right, that's not going to heal, that's not good for you. And the intentions behind abuse don't matter. It doesn't matter if it's accidental. What matters is the effect that it's having on you on either side of that. Yes, maybe your arguments are reactionary and your issues are related to each other, and you might go, well, we could just work on these issues. But if someone is actually is emotionally or physically or psychologically hurting you and making you feel bad, that's not going to be a good situation. You're not going to be good for each other. And I think on a subconscious level, it tends to be a few months into the relationship, but that's realised and fought against by both parties. Like, you both go into this kind of crazy codependent survival mode, and and because you're so different, it's so hard to understand each other, and it gets worse and worse and spirals. Because generally, our partners end up trying to make us into someone we're not, because they become insecure with who we are. They thought that's all for them. They thought they're just going to change, just going to calm down. They can't deal with the intensity. They can't deal with jealousy. We can't deal with it. We take that as an attack. And we tend to be very, very good at communicating. We present ourselves to you. You fall in love with us as us, and then we drive you crazy because we're crazy. That's true. And the struggle to connect when we're over communicating, to a fault. We'll tell you things that you can't understand. Like, our feelings can hurt your feelings, vice versa. Generally, we don't handle rejection well. Pathologically, we're nymphomaniacs. So if sex starts going down, we're going to get very upset about that. That's going to leave, our partners feeling shitty. It's going to leave us feeling shitty. It's going to create this whole kind of toxic environment. And we'll be very honest. We're like, oh, but you're not getting enough. And we feel like you're not attracted to us. And and that is putting our insecurities, putting the responsibility for our insecurities onto our partners, which isn't right. And that's generally what our partners end up doing. So you end up kind of mimicking the worst parts of each other's behaviours, and it spirals. The other thing is, last one, is our magical thinking. We believe you're our soulmate. We move our relationships way, way, way quicker than stereotypical lesbians. We're very gullible. We buy into our own bullshit. We genuinely believe we're in love with you when we say it like 3 or 4 days after we've met you. And you go along with that, because you're having this intense physical connection, but neither of you are being rational. And when you start in crazy, it's gonna go a crazy way. And this is the thing. If you are histrionic, you can have a healthy relationship, but you need to find a partner who can really accept that, and you need to accept, the good and the bad things about yourself, and try and work on them, which is what we're doing this year. And And the other beautiful thing about your awareness is you end up not being able to split on partners, because yes, we do that, but to actually split and want to have a partner and end up in this really, really toxic environment, the extent you have to actually push a histrionic to do that is quite extreme. So yeah, so know that they're not evil hell bitches, or scorned women. Sometimes they're scorned women, but so are neurotypical women. And I guess that is our crazy imperfections. That is, a little summary of the problems we've got in relationships. But knowing these, we can address them, and that is a really positive thing about moving forward and recovery. And thank you for listening to me today. Enjoy this lovely sunshine that we've got today. Goodbye.